guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. My name is Serena WW and welcome to another video. My channel is about productivity, lifestyle and law related content. And if you know you're into for all those good stuff like book reviews, hauls, let me know in the comment section. Thank you so much for joining this channel. You're the reason why I always come back to do what I do. So today it's an updated get to know me video. I did a get to know me video about 2 years ago, that's 2023, and a lot has changed up until now. A whole lot has changed. So let's jump right into the video. Yeah. Like I mentioned earlier, I said 2 years ago was the last time I filmed a get to know me video. So let me just basically share a updated get to know me video. So apologies, I'm going to be looking down because I'm looking at it directly from my tab. The questions are all here, so I'm going to be answering them directly from my tab. So just give me a minute. Content creators, we try. We did try. Now, the first question, motivation. My biggest motivation is my family. What's my biggest inspiration? My biggest inspiration is my family. What's the biggest lesson I've learned? The biggest lesson I've learned would be that everything will fall into place. It may not make sense now, but everything will surely fall into place. What is the thing that surprised me most about my personal life? I think what surprised me most is that I became very sanguine. Like, I knew my personality was sanguine, but I became more sanguine. I strengthened my social interaction skills. I was able to like manage business and all of that. Yeah, I sell yachts for a living. Yeah, like this cruise ship. Yeah, I just said it. Then, what advice do you give to someone about their personal life? Well, do you, but always be teachable. And yeah, what is your favorite memory that connects to your personal life? I think when I graduated from university as a first graduate in 2022, and when I was called to the bar in 2024, that's the hugest memory I can remember. Then, what's my biggest fear regarding my personal life? I wouldn't say that because that's my personal life. What has changed most about my personal life? Well, what has changed is that I have been more resilient, stepped out of my comfort zone, and giving life a shot every day at a time. What is one big misconception people have about you? Well, I don't know. Tell me in the comment section, what's the biggest conception that people have about me? I really don't know, because I'm not there when I'm being talked about. Yeah, so what motivates you in your personal journey? I think God, my family, and my purpose. Yeah. What inspired your childhood the most? I feel my mom inspired my childhood a lot. What's the biggest lesson I've learned about my childhood? Well, one big lesson I've learned is it's good for a child to grow up in a very healthy environment where there's love and their basic parental guidance. It helps them to have sense on time. Yeah, if you know, you know. Then what is your biggest advice? Biggest advice, okay. As a child, I would advise that you listen to your parents, follow the steps of God, like listen to your parents when it comes to like godly advice, follow the steps of God and try to trust that you be the best, like strive to be the best at what you do, because over time it builds a certain level of resilience. Then what is your biggest fear as a child? I'm not going to say that because obviously I've overcome it, but I'm not going to say that on the internet. And what has changed about your childhood? I've become more accepting. Yeah, because I've become more accepting. I don't want to give details, but I have become more accepting. And then, what is one misconception that people had about me as a child? I can't remember. Vision blurry. Then, it's about friendship here. Is that When you find your people and when your people find you, all of you guys are going to be locked in literally for life. So I have friends from secondary school, I have friends from university, and I have friends from law school. I have friends from NYC. So one thing I've learned is that it requires a lot of patience, but trust me, when you get your people, you guys are locked in, and even from colleagues as well, you guys are locked in literally. So yeah, that's one thing that I've learned about this, about friendship: patience, understanding, and being a good person. Really, not being a nice person, but being a good person. Research that. So, what has surprised you most about friendship? Well, one thing that has surprised me about friendship is that sometimes it can be demanding. Sometimes, well, other times it's all fun. What's one advice you give to someone about friendship? Be friends with someone that match your vision, that match your goal, and all of that. So, what is my favorite memory? I think my favorite memory about friendship was when a friend of mine had to come to my school to do my convocation makeup. Even though she was a makeup artist that was specializing in her business, she came really early. She did not just look at the fact that basically she did not see me finish. She did not just look at the fact that, oh, she's just my secondary school classmate, and she has like, she was very professional, and she even helped me like to tie my gilly, even though I just paid her for makeup. So yeah, I really, really appreciate. So I'm friends that support friends businesses, and also my friends too. They call me handy, and they cut the slack sometimes, like ease off the stress. So that's why I really, really love my friends. Their friends are a shoulder to cry on sometimes. Like way before we had ChatGPT that people tell all their problems to, they actually have a down conversation with their friends. But now I don't know how that's spanning. Now the last and final question is, in friends, what is one thing that motivates you in your friendship journey, and what you're most grateful for in friendship? One thing that motivates me, first of all, is that do our values align? I think that's like my biggest motivation. If our values don't align, I'm so sorry, that friendship is not going to last. Maybe we're going to be acquaintances, chit chat, and all, but when it comes down to friendship, I don't use words loosely. I don't call someone I just met my friend. I don't call a stranger my friend. I don't use the word my friend loosely. If I call you my friend, I actually mean that. And if I call you my sister, you're deeper. So I don't use words loosely. I don't even say I love you loosely. I don't say I hate you loosely. Like, whenever I'm saying words like that, quite intentional. So that's why one thing that motivates me in friendship is our values must align, our visions must align. And one thing I'm grateful for is that I have sisters in my corner, like honestly, like sisters that can come through for me at any time, sisters that we can agree and pray on a matter, like those kind of sister, but from different mother kind of thing. Yeah, I have them in my life. So now let's go to the school questions: school, university, secondary school, law school, and NYSC. Let's
Inspired me
get
most
down to
about
it.
school.
I don't want to make this sound redundant or somehow, well, yeah, it's my family. What's one biggest lesson I've learned about school? School is finite, so do your best when the time is, like, for the time being that you have to be in school. School is not in eternity. School is finite. So you have a period of time. If you're in secondary school, 6 years. If you are in the university, 4, 5 years, 7 years, depending on the course of study. If you're going to housemanship law school, 1 year, 2 year, whatever. It's always finite. It's not going to last in perpetuity. So please try to put in the work and be consistent, study, work hard, and at the end of the day, you'll be done. You will graduate, you will convocate, because that matriculation you did, you're going to convocate, and the school is going to need more people. You get me? So do your best. So, what's one biggest fear that you had regarding school? Well, I wouldn't say that on the internet actually. I don't like discussing my fears out there. But maybe I think I should mention this because the Holy Spirit is nudging me that this is something that someone can learn from. Well, one biggest fear that I had was that I studied law in Nigeria, and I was in the art class in secondary school. Then I proceeded to the law school. And one thing that was a fear for me, never the exams, was how I can cover the scheme of work, how I can cover the course outline, or how I can cover everything I need to study. So what I did to hack that fear was to get a planner. I used the Trello app for my planner. Get a planner, plan everything to the T, like every single detail. So that was what I used to overcome that fear. So it's basically not a fear. I know some students can be scared of exam and whatnot, but please, it's an exam. If you're not tested, how would they know you have learned? So even life in itself is an exam. So don't be scared, because I think my approach is kind of funny, but I feel like it's a human being that wrote these books, it's a human being that wrote these materials, it's a human being that's going to write the exam questions, it's a human being that's going to mark it. And the person is not walking around with two heads. No shades to my lecturers or teachers or whatever, but like the person is a human being as me, just that we are sitting in different capacities. So do not idolize your lecturers, do not idolize your textbooks. Just see them as every other novel that you are reading that was written by your favorite author. Capish? Capish. And the easier, the higher you go, the easier it gets. Everything is just the mind. Now, what is one surprise about the law school journey? I think I'm going to share this question in two. So there's the law journey and law school journey. I think one thing that surprised me about the law journey was how hard it was for me getting into the law journey. First of all, I had to write jam twice because my first jam I didn't meet up the cut-off mark to study law. Not that I didn't meet up the cut-off mark to gain admission into school. Yeah, so I had to write again because I wanted to study law. Later, I'll share the story why I wanted to study law. I think I'll put it on here in my anniversary video, so go and watch that video. I actually wrote jam again because I didn't meet the cut-off mark to be able to do law. So I was like, no, law is what I want, law is what I want to do. So I had to do a paralegal study for a period of like 1 year. Went in for the exam to write jam, and when I was done with that, I passed my jam and I gained admission to study law proper. So I think that was my motivation in the law journey. And one thing that I find surprising then was the fact that I had to cram cases and sections to write in the exam. And I must say for a fact that law really made me a better writer. Like you could hear lecturers telling you, giving you feedback. Oh, I love the way you write. I love the way you articulated yourself in the script. I love the fact that I could see your understanding of the body of work. So I think that was one thing that really surprised me, cramming those cases and sections. But over time, I was able to hack that with by simply just associating names to events. If you know, you know. Yeah, and if you're in Nigeria, every time when there's a celebrity gist, you just associate names to the event. So the way I just did is associate names to events and add cases and sessions. It's that easy. So what else? One favorite memory about my law journey was the fact that I obviously became BGS and I got to be chief judge. So it was not just book. I still had like administrative work and I was able to balance both worlds. And one thing that I'm grateful for is that the law journey really exposed me, really gave me doors to opportunities, made me work in rooms I always once dreamt of. So yeah, what about let's go quickly into the NYC journey. Biggest lesson and all of that. So let's go straight into the NYC journey. So the NYC journey here, one thing that I discovered about it that was my motivation and that inspired me was the fact that I could see young Nigerians that were so talented. Oh my God, like from camp, from like PPA posting, like they were so creative every time when we had to do our CDS and all of that. One biggest lesson that I learned from NYS is that allow you to finish and you will open your bank account months after NYC and you realize the importance of honing your entrepreneurial skill. I go for that to say that as an NYSC member, get your entrepreneurial skill up. If you are selling a service, if you are selling a product, if you are whatever, even if you are working in your PPA, get your entrepreneurial skill up, because that is what will distinguish you from average and excellence. Okay. Now, one fear I had about NYC, basically living alone. I never lived alone prior to NYC. That was the first time actually living alone. One misconception people have about NYC, they think it's a waste of time, but I feel it's a time for you to prepare you for the future. That's how I see it. Then one thing I'm grateful for NYC is because that's where I met the love of my life, and I also was able to make 6 figures, not from my PPA, not from my NYC salary, but from the practice of law. Yeah, I'll share that maybe in any video if I feel led. If I don't feel led, you would never hear about the video. But yeah, okay. So moving on, what is one advice? So I know some of you are going to hear this gist. Well, I'm married now. I live with my husband. My one-time boyfriend is now my husband. Yeah, and my parents handed me over. Like I had your blessings to live with a man. Well, it just shows you that everything has time. So Zikwanike, you get that? Yeah. And what else? I relocated as well. I live with my husband in a different country. UGC content creator, although I collaborate with brands, and also I work as a brand ambassador for brands as well, sampling products and all. Then I still practice law, but right now I'm not in the no. Yeah, I mentioned earlier, so but I'm still a lawyer. Nothing is taking that away from me. I'm still going to be paying my practicing dues, my practicing fee, my young lawyer. I'm still going to be paying, but yeah. So that's it. So bring all, and also I forgot to mention I still sell yachts. Yeah, I sell yachts for a living, and I manage real estate properties here and there. I actually don't work alone. I actually have a team of people currently in Nigeria on ground that does the mobility and all of that, and they report back to me. So this is what I was mentioning about having a solid community of people that you can trust. So thank you so much for watching today's video. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe down below. And please leave a comment if there's something that you want to know about me that I didn't tell you and all. And if you want to know basic things like what state I'm from, where was I born? Go and watch my Get Ready to Know Me video 2 years ago. It hasn't changed. But yeah. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Bye.